Welcome to Module 6B. This module describes the boundaries that Yoke Fellow volunteers must respect to minister to people who are transitioning from prison back into society, also known as returning citizens. Only volunteers who plan to participate in post-incarceration ministry need to work through this module. If you are only planning to minister in a prison environment, work through Module 6A instead. Topics covered in Module 6B include post-incarceration policies, best practices or what to do, practices to avoid or what not to do, and practices to be cautious about. A lot of information is covered in this module. Refer to the Volunteer Handbook for a complete list of the do's and don'ts of post-incarceration ministry. Our first topic is a look at policies that are specific to post-incarceration ministry. Let's focus first on policies surrounding use of the venue. Venues are typically provided for free by local churches, transitional housing programs, and other similar types of ministries. Yoke Fellows should be mindful of being good guests while using these venues. To respect those providing the venue, be sure to start and end the meetings on time. Allow sufficient time to clean up the room. The room should be left in the same condition that it was found in. The local coordinator may not vacate the premises until after ensuring that all attendees have exited the building and that the building doors are locked. Attendees must respect the rules of the venue at all times. Maintaining attendance logs is an integral part of holding a post-incarceration meeting. Not only do these attendance logs help Yoke Fellow track the effectiveness of its post-incarceration ministry, but they also provide protection to attendees. If an item is damaged or stolen from a venue, returning citizens are likely to be the first suspects. Maintaining attendance logs provides evidence that attendees were supervised at all times and could not be responsible. The local coordinator is responsible for maintaining the arrival and departure times of every attendee. Volunteers should only write their first names. Returning citizens should also include their last names. Attendees may not leave the authorized meeting area without express permission from the local coordinator. If an attendee is granted permission to leave the authorized meeting area, such as to use a restroom located outside of the designated area, the attendee must be escorted by a Yoke Fellow volunteer, both of whom must sign the log as well as the local coordinator, including the times of departure and return. Safety is a primary concern for post-incarceration meetings. Unlike prison ministry, where armed guards are nearby to maintain order, post-incarceration ministry has no such protection. Thus, adequate safety measures have been put into place to keep Yoke Fellow volunteers and returning citizens safe. A male volunteer should monitor the parking lot before and after meetings to ensure safe arrival and departure of attendees. At least 2 male volunteers must be present at all times at each meeting. All Yoke Fellow volunteers should pay attention to whether a returning citizen appears overly interested in a volunteer and report any concerns to the local coordinator. Volunteers should also pay attention to whether they are followed after a meeting. Local coordinators are responsible for ensuring that everyone who entered the building also exits the building and making sure the doors to the venue are locked before departure. Volunteers must abide by all state legal reporting requirements. Now let's talk about best practices, or what to do. Our first topic is to dress modestly. This slide provides a list of apparel choices that violate the prison dress codes. These guidelines provide a good rule of thumb for post-incarceration ministry as well. If you would not wear an item of clothing to church, don't wear it to a Yoke Fellow meeting. Be mindful of dressing in a way that is less likely to arouse the sexual interest of returning citizens, even those of the same sex. Another best practice is to set personal boundaries. Realize your limitations about how much help, support, and counsel you can bring to a returning citizen. Only God can heal someone's brokenness. Be careful how you receive and handle information that is shared. Talk with your local coordinator if you have questions about anything that someone tells you. Carefully choose an appropriate place to pray with, counsel, or listen to a returning citizen. Finally, be prepared to deal appropriately with flirting, romantic advances, con games, and physical contact. Model Christ-likeness in all that you do. Accept returning citizens as they are. Be an example of truth, hope, honesty, and optimism. Always be truthful about what you tell a returning citizen. Work at being a good listener, giving encouragement, respecting others' personal stories, offering hope, and being trustworthy. Everything that was shared in the narration is covered in the volunteer handbook. Be sure to read over this information and to follow it. Now let's talk about practices to avoid. First, avoid violating yokefellow boundaries. For example, do not bring anything to the meetings for returning citizens or take anything from returning citizens at the meetings. This includes not mailing anything for them. Do not contact families, lawyers, judges, or make phone calls for any returning citizen. Do not accept gifts from them or engage in any business dealings with them or their families. Do not give them money or invite them to stay at your house. Finally, do not engage in any physical contact with a returning citizen. The second category of don'ts is engaging in negativity. Yokefellows provide a positive atmosphere, so avoid all forms of criticism. For example, do not criticize any churches, denominations, faiths, races, countries, or cultures. Avoid discussing doctrines and practices that cause division or confusion among Christians. If a returning citizen has questions about an aspect of Christianity that Christians often disagree about, such as forms of baptism, encourage the returning citizen to reach out to a pastor or local church for counsel. Do not engage in debates with returning citizens. You are there to listen, not to win an argument. Finally, never share your own personal or church problems with a returning citizen. Avoid anything that could break a returning citizen's trust. For example, never discuss one returning citizen's problems or personal story with another. Do not ask about their crimes. Never break your word or make promises that you cannot keep. Other practices to avoid are giving your personal information to a returning citizen, such as your phone number, address, or email address. Do not try to fix a returning citizen's problems. Instead, direct the returning citizen to available community resources to help with the area of need. Finally, be yourself as you interact with returning citizens. Do not approach them as a psychiatrist, lawyer, or minister unless you are one. Try to relate to them honestly and simply as person to person. This will make it easier for the returning citizens to do so with you. If there is any question about what you are considering doing, discuss the situation with your local coordinator first. This slide provides a list of actions to be cautious about. Be cautious about helping a returning citizen's family with their rent, fuel, telephone, doctor bills, or other needs. Do not loan returning citizens books, commentaries, or Bibles. Don't become too involved in a returning citizen's problems. Don't go to a returning citizen's house. Finally, be cautious about accepting a returning citizen's view of things as being the whole truth, such as their crime story, family, or education. Thank you for viewing Module 6B. You can review this video again and refer to the Volunteer Handbook to help you complete the test for this module.